Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Hello everyone. In this lecture we will discuss about emerging technologies and their possible intervention in design. So which are those emerging new technological areas which are having some actually positive impact, some positive actually uh, like a intervention in the like a building industry, in the design, whether it is control, whether it is like a operations, or or the manufacturing, or the even like a afterlife. So we will see like a one by one. These are the some actually smart technologies, some smart actually city solutions which are actually in a whole. These are actually able to constitute a smart city actually concept. In the recent times, you may be aware, smart city actually this scheme was adopted by government of India, and there are over like 100 cities which are converted into like a smart city, and some new cities are also being established which will be completely like a smart in terms of. So what is actually those things which are actually making them smart? So we will try understanding these technologies one by one. So of course the three aspects of sustainability are there. So these projects, these buildings are environmentally conscious, they are socially responsible also, as well as they are economically projected to be viable also. So as long as they are able to satisfy on the three important aspects of sustainability, they can be actually taken as the smart city actually projects. So majorly if we see what are those technologies, so in that one, this green technology, like becoming like a environmentally conscious is one of the actually major criterias. Then building in information modeling, so that the actually real-time information of like the components of the building, how is it consuming like energy, how is it consuming resources, can also be actually taken care of. So for that we have this building information modeling system. So BIM has become one of the actually important actually technological interventions in the recent time to facilitate buildings. Further we have like a security related technologies, such as like several types of like a scanners, sensors, and the CCTVs are in place to ensure the safety and security of the like occupants and the entire actually premises. So that is one of the major technological areas where huge intervention is actually made. Further we have like a other like a energy sources which can be installed on the like in the building, such as like a photovoltaic cells, such as like a windmill, so depending upon actually geographic location. So this is also one of the technologies which has in the recent times has taken over in the like in the buildings. And we are aware of already like a net zero electric like a buildings. So these buildings are actually pre-planned to produce their own energy requirements, and they are actually self-sufficient. They are actually not dependent on the grid. Rather, at some point of the year they are supplying back to the grid. Further we have certain like a pollution control systems in the place, such as like a air pollution control system, such as like a water pollution control systems within the premises, like indoor air quality, like sensors and measurements, so that we can keep on improving the fresh air inside the premises to improve the health and well-being of the occupants. Then we have like a smart grid solution, so that the buildings are like connected with the national grid. In case of like the power surplus, the buildings can supply their power to the like a national grid. And other like chemical actually leakage and chemical actually pollution detection systems are also in the place. So this is one of the actually technologies where certain like hazardous chemicals can be actually sensed before causing damage to the like inhabitants of the building. And several like a real-time updating technologies things are also in the place, and they are being installed in like buildings. So this is also one of the areas where technology has integrated, to get out the actually real life real time actually updates and information under the like a BIM. Then we have like a water management actually a technology in the place to to supply to regularly the water supply, plus control the quality of it, plus manage the wastewater which is generated inside the building, to how to go for recycling or reusing, repurposing, etc. So this water management has also evolved in the recent times as one of the actually technological intervention areas. Further, we have like these smart parking systems where the number of parkings available can be informed beforehand, optimizing on the utility of the parking area, so that nobody actually loses the chance of parking if it is like available. So how this parking systems are like a working like a mindless actually with the way of like a this technological intervention. So there is like there's several types of systems in the place in the like a building premises, where automated entries are actually granted depending upon the identity of the like a owner or the car, and then one can park and take out their cars like efficiently. And in that also like spaces are like optimized, so the cars can be actually taken through like these automated actually parking systems. So there also this technology has actually impregnated, and we have actually several such examples in the cities such as like New Delhi, Bombay, and like Kolkata, Bangalore, etc. Further, we have on the like other hazardous to control the other hazards which are like likely possible in like some parts of the country, such as like earthquakes. So we have actually some like sirens and some other like control systems where like a public broadcast systems, etc., where the information, as soon as the information is received about like any such occurrence, this can be broadcasted to the occupants, and the loss of the lives and property can be actually minimized. Further, we have like a networking system based technologies to connect each and every user, or connect each and every like a appliance in the like a building premises, so that their real time actually feedback can be taken, whether they need any replacement or replenishment, etc. So the supply of the resources and goods can be actually maintained at the faster actually pace. So this real time stock taking and the connectivity with the help of like a IoT's Internet of Things, the mostly these gadgets and other like a service providing actually tools and equipments are being connected with the internet. So this is also one of the major actually intervention areas of technology in the like a building premises. Further, we have like other hazard prevention systems in the place, such as like earthquake. We have some actually prevention systems for like other hazards also, such as like cyclones, typhoons, and landslides, etc., in the place depending upon the location. Extending it to beyond the actually the building, like right outside the building, we have like other like a technological inputs also, where one can actually apply for like a optimized like a traffic management systems, or the movement of the like a traffic in and around the building, the entry exit points, etc. So in response to that, actually these traffic lights can be actually controlled to have actually the efficient traffic system. Further in this line, we have other technological interventions in like a fire prevention, in the like a structural light integrity and monitoring systems, and we have like a electrical management systems also in the place. So collectively, you can see all of these areas and even more. They have actually received several technological interventions in the like recent years, and the buildings are like a more smarter than the times before, and they can perform to the like a maximum, and they can optimize on the spending of resources and energy. So these are the actually impacts of like this technological interventions in the building, resulting into optimization of resources and the comfort. So these are the actually resultant. So one can actually plan their like design exercises around the technological interventions, the technologies which are possible today for like implementations on our like projects. Further in this, like how these technologies are actually having an impact, having like a positive impact on improving like the overall like ambience and the efficiency of our like cities. So with the help of like automated like information on the like repairing which is needed, so preventing repairings are actually can be carried out reducing the cost of like a maintenance or damages caused by the normal wear and tear, so resulting into a huge saving. So you can see some figures over here. You can actually get this information from the internet, how these technologies are actually saving the resources and the energy consumption in these like buildings, particularly in these many areas. Further on the like infrastructure productivity, like how infrastructure can be utilized more for like the larger output, because infrastructure once established will be there standing for a very long period of time. So the capital invested or the spaces or the buildings actually created can be utilized into multiple ways also. For example, if there is space allocated for like running like a certain activity, so what happens once the activity is performed in a scheduled time, so after that actually scheduled time, what happens in that building after that time? So what this can be actually thought of, and an automated actually systems can be actually designed to actually extend the uses of that actually building premises. Similarly, we have seen like a technological interventions in like a traffic management, the resulting into like a time saving of the users and the city dwellers. So how this optimized traffic management systems can be actually designed around these buildings or the business district areas. So optimizing on the like a cost saving and the time saving and resource saving and fuel saving, etc. Further, we have like discussed earlier in like a parking based technological systems and the smart grid systems, resulting into saving on the resources. So how this new technologies are coming to the aid to the overall design of the design and construction sector. So we have this like a prefab actually construction systems also in the place. For example, if a building is going to be constructed in the like a busy business district of any like a city, it's going to cause a lot of like, disturbance also to the surrounding area. Plus having a construction actually work going on for a longer period of time will further actually extend or increase the costs of that building. So how these prefabricated actually building components can be utilized to actually create like an optimum and efficient actually solution in like a shorter span of time. So this is also one of the actually technological intervention areas, by going for like a prefabricated building components for like a faster actually growth and faster actually a pace of like a construction in the like places. This you must be aware of like a 3D printing. It's a like additive manufacturing actually technology. So how this 3D printing is also adding to the like a construction of like a like an efficient way. Plus it minimizes a huge amount of like a waste, because it doesn't leaves any like a residues or any like a extra actually material. It lays only material where it is necessary or where it is designed to be laid, so resulting into significant saving from like a conventional like a reductive ways of like a construction and methodology actually systems. And there are 3D printers coming in like a very big scale also, and they are good enough to actually build up some like a small scale like a structures, maybe 1 or 2 story high. There are several examples from across the world. Okay, you may have seen it already in the news, like how several agencies, companies, these are actually coming up with innovative ways for 3D actually printing the buildings. So this is going to be one of the disruptive actually innovations in the like recent times as far as this construction sector is concerned, because it will significantly reduce the operations, the management, the costing, the material or the energy consumptions by the building. So this is one of the actually areas where you must actually put some attention. You can take help of this 3D printing actually technology, and you can come up with some solutions like how the materials which are from the like a which are required for actually building construction can be utilized for like a 3D printing in an efficient way. So we can take help of actually 3D printing in designing and printing the components of the buildings, because it can play a very important role in actually fabricating some components which are very difficult to fabricate by like a conventional actually methods. So we can reduce on the like a material, as well as we can reduce on the like a energy consumption part also, by minimizing the material consumption and the like energy actually consumed. So 3D printing actually one of the promising areas where one can actually explore several designs. So even from the like a design perspective, we can go for actually fabricating complex forms and complex actually shapes, very easily with this actually actually technique. So this is one of the actually disruptive technological actually potential areas, where one can actually make some strong actually intervention in the like a building sector. So if we see like a with an integrated building technology system like a designer, so it has the potential to touch each and every stakeholder of like a any like a premise, such as like architect, mechanical engineers, electrical engineers, construction managers, civil engineers, interior designers, contractors, owners, clients, or even the like occupants. So how this technology can be utilized further to strengthen this actually bond, strengthen this actually relationship, because this relationship actually is the responsible actually thing for an efficient actually functioning of any like a building premise. So because a building actually lasts for like a several years, several decades, okay, and in that period, in its like operations stage, it utilizes a huge amount of resources and like energy. So how this can be actually brought down, so while increasing the actually efficiency of it, so this technological actually interventions can come to the rescue. So you see over here this very complex actually network of like pipes. In number of like actually segments you can see of these pipes are running over there. So the pipes are color coded. If you start actually understanding what are these and how they are functioning, they are color coded in different colors. They have actually different diameters, different lengths. They are laid in like a different levels. So this is actually a model taken of from a like a building. So removing the other like a building components, just keeping the actually pipings in this actually picture. So you see like these setup actually pipes, they are supplying either like a some material, or they are taking back some material, for like a processing and recycling, or like as a waste, or they may be actually supplying water, they may be supplying like a other like materials, or like a resources needed for the building. So this is actually a shot taken from a, like a BIM actually. So how this BIM, like building information modeling, helps us to lay down the each and every actually segment, each and every part of this actually this piping network, which is actually implemented in any given building, so that the operators, so the people who are taking care of the maintenance and operations of this building can actually take care of it, and they can actually create some like isolation areas. If there is like any fault in like a certain segment, they can identify that fault, they can actually isolate that segment, without interrupting the services to the entire building. They can go and they can take some corrective measures. So this is actually network, like usually we do not actually see with our like naked eyes, but our buildings are actually fully functional, like a sort of like a living organisms, who actually consume resources, who actually does some work, who actually which actually leaves out some like other like a waste material also. So this is like a living system. So this is how actually this building work, and the technological interventions can help actually conducting this work efficiently. Further, so we are talking about BIM over here, building information modeling. So starting from the like a design phase, starting from the like a conceptual phase, where we are like envisioning like what kind of services and what kind of operations and the utility we actually desired from like this actually premise, and then going for the like a detailed design, analysis, documentation, fabrication, construction, the other like a logistics related with the construction, operations and maintenance, renovation, regular actually preventing maintenance, etc., programming, etc., and then the end of the life actually stage. So build actually BIM handles the operation stage completely. So it takes care of each and every actually component, each and every actually service which is there inside that building, whether this is like water supply, the fresh air, or the conditioned air supply, whether it is like a fire prevention system, or some alarm system, or maybe energy actually a consumption system, maybe for lighting, ventilation, etc., even for like operating like lifts, escalators, etc. So this takes care of all of those things. Even it can calculate the energy load, which are which can actually happen on any given building at any point of the time in the year. So this has actually this analytical component also, so which takes care of like energy planning so that the energy consumption can be minimized. So you see like a BIM is a very utilitarian actually a technological actually intervention in the building industry altogether. Further we have like if we go for like a material wise, so how the efficient materials can be brought into like a actually a uses in these actually buildings. So this is that is actually discussed over here on this particular slide. So how the actually technology from like a material sciences can be utilized in this the actually application of like a certain materials, for example glass over here. So the surface orientation is a, like a factor which can actually decide the application and the types of the glass and the thickness of it. Then the color shift, what kind of actually color actually we want at what time of the year, at what time of the day, whether we want like a larger like an intake of light inside, or we want to reduce the light depending upon the actually hour and the months. So all of these factors are the actually play important role in deciding actually this material the materials specifications. So we see like in the materials science also, this material the area also, it is very important to have actually technological input. So there are some actually technologies available these days which actually help like a controlling the glass. So the intake of the light can also be controlled and can be changed by the like occupants. The orientation of fins also can be changed depending upon the time and the month of the year, how much light we want to like take inside the building premises. So such like efficient methods are there to improve upon the experience of our operations of any building, such as like a like some other factors such as like a wind and snow load, like a safety concerns, the thermal stress, the aesthetics and the overall look of the building, look and appeal of the building, and of course the energy and sustainable like components, the actually the strategies, like how these can be also utilized on these actually buildings with the technological interventions is actually a matter of interest and appeal these days. So one actually must take help of a such like a technological actually inputs, okay, and apply on their like a projects. Further, there are actually technological interventions in the fire safety also in the buildings. So new types of actually sensors and isolators are actually coming these days, through which can actually sense the fire and can isolate actually a certain segment of the building in order to reducing the spread of the fire in the other sections of the building. So this system are also being installed in the multi-story actually structures, because they are highly vulnerable to actually damages by the fire, and extreme actually hazards are actually likely in case of like a, such a actually incidences. So this technology is being implemented in most of these upcoming like a high rise actually buildings, enabling actually the fire safety over actually a longer period of time. So in an like a overall sense, if we see like we have like a several actually areas, several domains where the technological interventions are happening in the like a building industry today. So starting from the like a climate resilience, so to how to go for actually UHIE reduction that we have discussed earlier. So the green roofings are like a in the like a promotion, as you can see in this illustration. This is the this talks about the future of the like a European built environment. So how they are actually trying to envision like how this how their actually cities are going to be like in the like coming actually year. Further, the technological inputs for like a flexibility of uses of these actually the buildings. So the how the activities, a certain activity can be wrapped up in a shorter span of time, and the building actually floor pad can be made available for like other activity. So the flexibility in like a adaptability of the like a building spaces. So that is also one of the areas, one of the actually domains where technology has come to like its rescue. Further, like a cognitive building, so buildings are actually able to sense a number of actually things, okay. Okay, so how, and they are able to strategize and plan the use of the resources, or they are able to actually take corrective actions, to safeguard actually, if there is a safety or security is concerned, or if there is any like a kind of hazard is concerned, so they are able to actually take some corrective measures also. So this is where we are seeing the buildings are turning into like the smart buildings, really. So once they develop actually these cognitive abilities, based on the actually data collection, on the real time basis, they may be able to take even more like a corrective measures to prevent like a hazards, or actually take care of the like occupants. Further, if you see like the buildings focus on like a performance, so the how the building is performing on the like a consumption, consumption of material resources or energy, anything. So that also like is one of the actually prime areas of like a intervention in the recent times. And there are all of these like a BIM models, they are actually helping to minimize the actually consumption of resources and energy in the like a building premises. Further enabling the working and living in a 24-hour like economy. So the buildings are adopting like a multi-uses pattern. So the buildings are like adopting this pattern where they can be used even in the night time, even in the odd hours of the the day. So how this can be actually made use of, because actually infrastructure actually projects such as the building is a huge investment. So the how the maximum efficiency and the optimization actually can be taken from this is the actually matter of like a further exploration. Then circular buildings. So circular buildings means the circular economy, the closing actually life cycle, so this actually concept comes from there. So we have discussed it earlier. So the resource consumption, so how the buildings can actually close the cycles, so that is actually target. So like with several means, for example, like a sourcing of the water and sourcing of the like a electricity, so the how the buildings can actually close the loop, so from the like a generation, from the manufacturing till the consumption and the recycling and even repurposing. So the in what ways buildings can contribute, because buildings actually consume a huge amount of like resources. Every day there is a lot of like materials which goes inside the building, and every day if you observe there is a huge amount of like a trash also gets out of the building. So how this trash can be minimized or completely, maybe completely taken care of, completely can be the amount can be actually brought to the like a nil. So this is the actually concept which we are actually discussing over here. If buildings also can follow the circular actually model of like a closing the life cycle, it will be much better, because the buildings are the ones who are actually housing like a users, the habitants, and in turn they are actually producing a huge amount of waste, and we are aware of the problems created by these landfills and the waste, actually solid or the liquid or semi liquid. Further like energy positive, well we have discussed it n number of times in the like net zero energy building. So in that concept of, you see like the buildings are supposed to be actually generating their own actually power requirements, because that's a decentralized actually model of power generation we are talking about here. Because any centralized actually model, such as like maybe like a thermal power plant, or maybe a nuclear power plant, or a hydro power plant, they have their own impacts at the mammoth scale. So that actually impacting, that actually damaging impact can be minimized by adopting actually standalone actually power generation systems, on the like from the like individual buildings itself. Further, lastly, we have this support a healthy lifestyle. So the how the buildings can actually promote a healthy and well thought of, actually lifestyle of its like a users. So by creating actually nice indoor like a air quality, by giving them an ambient actually atmosphere around, we will by giving them a good views outside, so that there are like a positive impacts on the like psychological actually dimensions of the like a human comfort. So starting from the like a physical comforts to the like a psychological comforts, how buildings can actually come to the rescue, and there is actually huge scope for like a technology to actually address each of these actually intervention areas. Further in the networking also, like each and every gadget, each and every appliance, each of our like electronic devices are actually connected with the internet. They are receiving the informations, they are receiving the data, they are functioning with the desired actually given like a commands. So for that, this huge networking system is one of the very important and necessary actually things to do. So whether it is like a wired based connection, whether it is like a wireless based connection, irrespective of its this thing, a network, a good networking actually inside the building premises is one of the actually most required entities. In the recent actually pandemic this state, you may have experienced, the uses of these electronic gadgets such as like phones, computers and internet have grown like a considerably high, because they are able to actually facilitate us for like our education, e-commerce activities and several other things. So we can actually with the help of all these this growth in like a telecom and like a computing, the which has India was already witnessing for like last few years. So this has actually come very handy for like Indians to survive, over this actually pandemic situations. So obviously there is a need to further strengthen this networking in the like a building premises to actually achieve an optimum actually connection. Further on the materials part here, this slide is taken from this aluminum association. So this is where they have actually spoken about how the technology to improve one material, on like a several parameters, has resulted into an like a efficient use of that material. For example, aluminum over here. So you can see, you can go through these details on their like a website. But we can discuss a few of these over here, like in this figure. If you see, the 95% of aluminum in buildings is recycled at the end of the life use, according to a 2004 study by Delft University of Technology. Well, this study actually is taken from the Netherlands. So this data is from the Netherlands. It may not be actually true for like Indian conditions, but we can have our own actually analysis of such materials. But yes, the important of like keeping this slide over here is that like one material, like how this aluminum as a material, can be utilized in our like a today's model, because it has certain actually properties which are advantageous over like other like materials, such as it doesn't rust. Okay, like a normal like a mild steel or iron, it rusts, but the aluminum doesn't rust. Okay, plus like it has like some other like advantages also. If you see, like aluminum is infinitely recyclable. In fact, nearly 75% of all aluminum ever produced is still in used in use actually today. So that's actually a huge feat, yeah, as far as like the sustainability is concerned, because this material, 75% of all aluminum produced till now in the entire world, is still in use somewhere. So that's an amazing actually feat if we compare it with the other materials such as like plastics and others. Okay, so this is highly advantageous, because plastics has turned out to be one of the most hazardous actually material inventions which has happened on this planet. Further, like a produced recycled aluminum saves more than 90% of the energy and produces just 8% of the greenhouse gases associated with the making new aluminum. So what an like a amazing feat if we say, if we compare, because it has a very high recyclability actually quotient. So it saves a lot of like energy also. Further, like a government officials should consider energy savings from recycling aluminum when developing policy. So how this aluminum can be actually brought into like a further uses in our like a buildings and like other like a product designs, that can be still with us to like explore. Some more advantages we can see over here. So we can see over here, like aluminum building products are weatherproof and corrosion resistant, as we discussed earlier. Architects can design light structures with great design flexibility. Aluminum's durability means it can serve its function in a building for many decades, to reduce like maintenance costs. Further, like aluminum's exceptionally high strength to weight ratio makes it especially useful as a like a structural material, weighing up to 65% less than steel. So this is one of the actually biggest advantages. In a like a lighter actually weight, we can have actually more strength. So how use aluminum further can be utilized. So this is where actually this technological actually intervention is coming. So with the help of technology, how a material can be refined and put to use in like a certain applications. So this is one of the actually best examples. You see, like using aluminum in buildings can help them qualify for green building status, such as like a rating system such as like a LEED also. So the LEED actually has a certain actually advantages, and it gives some like advantages actually point for adopting like a such material. Coated aluminum roofs can reflect up to 95% of the sunlight, while dramatically lowering energy consumption, because the heat gain of this material is lesser compared to other materials. So the overall heat load on the building will obviously be very low. Further, 50 to 85% is the range of estimated recycled content of like all aluminum building products, including like roofs, slidings, curtain walls, window frames, facades, door frames, etc. Further, aluminum's contribution to energy savings during the life cycle of building is equivalent to hundreds of millions of barrels of crude oil uses annually. Well, if we compare with the other materials, well, certainly it has like advantages. So why not to use actually technological interventions to improve upon these materials, and reducing the impact. Okay, so how technology such as like artificial intelligence, can play a role in achieving the sustainable development goal. So there is actually a study, you can refer this study over here in this journal from Nature Communications. So this says like the positive impact of AI, up to like 79%. So it is divided here into like a three aspects of sustainability: environment, society, and economy. So what are these actually? The SDGs, you see over here, they are color coded and numbered. Are like how much of impact is possible, how much of positive impact is possible, how much of like a negative is also impact is also like a studied over here is possible, is a like a studied through like this research. So it shows like there is a huge scope of actually improvement, with the technological interventions such as like artificial intelligence. Well, with this slide, we can see like an interaction of AI and the society. So how like artificial intelligence, is coming in the like a ecosystem, coming in our the entire actually this environment. So it is illustrated over here with this sketch. So this is actually planetary boundary, this dotted line outside, and then we have technology, government, and individuals. And here we have like this environment at the top, and there is actually these the activities and the interrelationships that we can see over here with these actually arrows. So there is certainly some relation with this artificial intelligence, this technology, for the people and for the other species, other life forms. And well, accordingly the resource consumption you can see, or accordingly the actually policy frameworks and legislations, things can be actually planned, how it can work actually for a resource optimization, or actually creating well-being in the society. So this is how actually this technology can be actually fine-tuned to help actually the planet. Further, we have spoken earlier about this networking. So how this wireless technology is coming to the rescue, and adoption of actually new other technologies also in the buildings is actually illustrated over here. This is taken from this research paper. You can refer this paper for more detail. So well, cloud computing, the cloud monitoring, how you can, even if you are away from the building premise, you can take care of it. And this BIM, actually building information modeling, and the sensors and other equipment installed in the building will keep us actually connected with the performance and the kind of the real time actually data, whatever is is going on inside the building. And we can take actually preventive or corrective measures, as and when required, through our phones or tabs or maybe computers. So it has become such a as convenient as this, that we can operate our buildings even while being at a remote location. So with the help of such a technology, of a cloud computing, networking, etc. So this is where we see the impacts of technology in the a building industry. And well, we can strategize why this technological actually interaction, and this actually lecture was needed, for our understanding that how we can actually devise our buildings according to the technologies, or with adopting actually the new technologies, new emerging actually technologies which are coming to our uses these days. Well, this is the last slide in this lecture, and it clearly actually gives us this impression how important it is for us to go for actually the technology adoption, and the kind of the promising results it can give. So you see this this red bar at the this red line at the top. So this is actually the kind of impact you see here, the rate of consumption of a impact today, and here it is about the future. And this dotted line talks about this sustainable actually rate of consumerism and actually consumption. So it is shown over here through this research paper. The details you can find through this paper over here. The link is given. How this technological actually vigets, slab by slab, by effort, by adopting like these many actually technologies. How we can actually bring this damaging actually curve down to a more sustainable, a greener curve, which is here right at the bottom. So this is actually consumption at today's rate. This is going very high, and this curve is the responsible curve which is causing the global warming actually, and this climate change impacts and several other like disturbances, and the changes through our like a consumption pattern, it will start bringing the efficiency in the whole actually consumption actually pattern, and slowly it is expected that the required actually consumption rate to reach actually sustainable actually this actually growth line can be achieved in the future. So you see the impact and the role of the technology, which is very promising, and we must actually go for actually technology adoption to improve our overall actually sustainable growth and development actually processes. So with this we have come to the end of this lecture.